I used to be very much against like Santa Claus and that kind of stuff. I was a kid. I was the asshole who ruined Santa Claus for some of my friends, and they're like, "No,
Okay.
look, there's the red dot in the sky," and I was like, "Yeah, it's just an airplane." Like,
Oof.
how do you not know that? I got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I've softened a bit, and Steph is very much, obviously I didn't grow up with Santa Claus specifically, but I had the Easter Bunny and I had the Tooth Fairy, and we celebrate Christmas now because Steph grew up Catholic, and so I like the idea of creating a little bit of wonder and that sort of excitement. But I think, like with anything else, it really just depends on the kid. And if the kid
Mm-hmm.
is up for it, because I heard this podcast where they were interviewing kids that had very specific reactions to the Santa Claus
Huh.
not true. And there were some kids who were like, "Oh, I love it. I love that my parents went to all, put out the cookies and took little bite marks out of it, and like it was fantastic." And then when I found out, like I helped with my younger sister, and it was
Mm.
this great thing, and everyone loved it. And then other people are just like, they lied to me, and I never will trust them because I knew that my instincts were this, and they completely like gaslighted me for years.
Uh-huh.
And that's the camp I'm in. That's the camp. That's what I relate to the most. Is like I would much rather, if I had to choose one, I would much rather be careful of ruining a kid's intuition and
Mm-hmm.
making them not trust what they think is true and not trusting adults, because that's a dangerous precedent to set where now they can't, they don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
Um, go ahead if you want to say something.
Well, as you're talking, I'm thinking that is the camp that I'm in, but I would add the like strategy of stating unsureness because it becomes very important to state, well, so does Santa Claus exist? I would say, well, some people believe Santa Claus exists. Now, of course,
Yeah.
that's going to lead to the difficult question, do you believe it? Perhaps Sasha and I would need to assign mommy agrees, daddy doesn't, so that he could be like, oh, well, that's just an even split. I don't know what I think.
Right.
Because, because that prepares you for a very important questions to do with religion and God and stuff like that, whatever someone might deal with. And there's a lot of
Right.
things that we can't see that some people believe and some people don't. And
Yeah.
our children will have to make decisions about those without being sure. So I like the idea of some people believe. And if they feel like having the moment being taken away by the moment, great. And if not, that's okay. But right, I'm starting to feel like I don't like the idea, just as you're talking, of um, stating something that's certain when I'm used to just saying the truth
Right.
a lot when I know it's not true.
Yeah, I think that's the nail on the head. And brief aside, Sasha knows there's no Santa Claus, right?
Uh, I don't know, actually. I have to ask, but I think she might still believe it.
Uh, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. That it's, for me at least, I'm happy to kind of go along with it and play along. And if she asks questions that are, well, how does he get from every house, in the world, like in one night? Well, what do you think? But if I would never be able to just flat out lie and say, you know, because he's magical, or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
like I think I can keep, and this is what Steph has sort of um, turned me on a little bit, is that I can deflect a little bit. Like she can ask a question and I say this thing, and then she doesn't ask again for a year or whatever it is. But she
mm-hmm.
starts to ask questions. I have this anecdote that I always tell when I'm talking about this. When I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, my grandma, not Sasha's grandma, other side, um, she would like read the tea leaves we would have like loose leaf tea in like little Asian teacups. And when you finish drinking the tea, it would like have a pattern on the inside, and she'd read it. She'd be like, oh, like this means this and this means that. And I was like, well, how do you know that? And like, what is this thing? Like, how do you know that this means this? And I was so badgering and nagging, and she kept trying to deflect and like, well, I just know. And then finally she kind of got fed up, and she was just like, okay, I made it up. Are you happy? Like, you ruined it.
Oh,
And I'm like, yeah, I am happy actually. Thank you. That's what I fucking thought.
Ah,
And that's the feeling that I mean, and of course it's personal, right? That I would never ever want to make Elise feel or any other kid that they just can't trust their intuition. And I think it's the responsibility of the parents to ascertain when they're at that moment, when they're ready. Like, I think she should have known that clearly I didn't believe it and that I was looking for, I really wanted to know, like, is there something behind this that you're not telling me, or am I stupid? Like, why am I not able to figure this out? But if it's this fantastical thing and it's a story and like, oh, Frozen, like they use their wands and they can do, I think I just mixed Harry Potter and Frozen, but whatever. Um, like they can do these things and we want to pretend like I'm all for that. I think that's fantastic. I just don't think, I think it seems like it's relatively obvious when the kid is frustrated that you're not answering their questions, and that's when you
I think that's a fair degree of nuance to go to. Is like really see how much the child is enjoying it or not, how interested they are, how far you're wanting to take it, given that you're going to have to undo it later. But I think there's more to think about here.